second half kickoff happened right behind Jim, as you saw here as we open up the second half. Hiram will start on offense, Ed, and the Terriers have a lot of work to do.
Well, they're down 42-0, and you know, they've been in this situation before, and you know, even Hiram going to a little bit of change there, Ron, with new quarterback on the field for Hiram.
Glenn Campbell, who we have talked about in the first half at wide receiver, has had some experience at quarterback. He will start at quarterback here for the Terriers in the second half.
Well, the switching quarterback cost him a little bit of confusion. It'll cost Hiram 5 yards, a delay of game.
Brendan Rehor, the freshman out of Bay High School, started the first half for Hiram, has started the entire season. Rehor has led Hiram with 670 yards passing, but he struggled as well as the rest of the team as a unit in the first half against this Case defense, who has been outstanding all season long. So it's Campbell now at quarterback for Hiram, and he'll hand the football off to Wilson in the backfield, and Matt Wilson will maybe get a yard, maybe get back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, Case is also beginning to substitute defensively. Greg Kingscott is in the defensive secondary for the Spartans. Josh Murphy is in at linebacker for Case. And that's kind of what Greg Debelak said as he went into the halftime locker room, was that we would begin to see substitutes here in the third quarter, and then he was going to try to get everybody in the football game later on.
And just below us here, we're in the press box on the eastern end of the stadium. The Case sideline is just below us, and warming up at quarterback for Case will be Joey Baum. So when the Spartans get the football back, which will be in moments, it will be a brand new quarterback for Case as well.
Glenn Campbell trying to roll out to his right on that play, Ron, and really nothing there. Campbell got squared in between the sideline and the Case defenders and was tackled inside the 10-yard line, and Hiram looking at a long third down play.
One starter that remains in the game for Case defensively is the guy who just made that tackle, Jeff Brown, and you know, Brown has done a great job this entire football game. Rehor back at quarterback under center, the freshman from Bay. The handoff on 3rd and 24. They'll get a couple, but not much more. Luke Lewis with the carry.
So the Spartans do a nice job stopping Hiram coming out the locker room. They'll get the ball first, should get it inside Hiram territory, and possibly begin to see the substitutes on offense as well.
Dan Calabrese, as he has done all day, will return the punt for Case, or at least set up to return it for the Spartans. Ball lands at the 34 and has some backspin back to the 33, and that's where Case will start their first offensive possession of this second half. And history has continued to be consistent for Case as the season goes along. 42 points in the first half. Case has now outscored their opponents in the first half of football games 231-46 in 7 football games. Today it was a 42-0 score. Baum is now at quarterback and under center for Case, and the Spartans will start at the Hiram 33, and the first carry from scrimmage will gain 2 yards.
Baum is the junior and heir apparent to Dan Whalen. He's from Walsh Jesuit High School.
Greg Meyer on the carry for Case. Meyer, the season leader rushing for Case this year with 328 yards. Case has an offense, 845 yards rushing, 2,110 yards passing this year. Baum now in the shotgun, standing at his own 35.
Brian Rice is now your 4th wide receiver. He's in the slot to the left.
Homick off to the right, and that's where the pass will go. Catches it at the 30, cuts across the 25, down to the 15, and it's a pickup of 18 yards for the Spartans.
With a little inside wide receiver screen, and Homick will take it. That's a staple of the Case offense. He waits for his offensive lineman to get in front of him, and after the catch picks up about 10 or 12 yards.
And after today, Case heads out to Chicago, the Windy City, to take on the University of Chicago. The Maroons are 3-2 on the season heading into this weekend. And then it's in Pittsburgh at Carnegie Mellon. The Tartans are 4-2 this season, and then they'll wrap up the regular season back here at home at Case Field, another Sports Time Ohio game that we will do against Washington University out of St. Louis. So 3 University Athletic Association games to close the season. Coach Debelak, as he mentioned at halftime, wants to leave today still healthy with all of his starters. That's why we'll see mostly substitutes and guys coming off the bench here in the second half. Running the football that time was Greg Meyer. Meyer's a starter, but in that Case backfield, they've got 4 guys that carry the football a lot, so there's not really one true starter or a true tailback. They've got quite a rotation.
Well, and that helps in games, especially in the Worcester game a couple of weeks ago. They had fresh legs throughout the fourth quarter.
It's Meyer again trying to get to the 5. He's going to be tackled at the 6, which will set up a 3rd and 1 situation for the Spartans.
You know, in other offenses, you would begin to see one featured back, but with Case, it's Greg Meyer this time with the football, and Billy Deitman can carry the ball. Corey Checken, Derek Bush. You can go 5 deep if you start throwing in Cameron Boyd at running back, and again, it's just the fact that they can bring wave after wave, and the depth that they have allows them to do a lot of things offensively.
Checking at the fullback spot, fumbled, or the snap was fumbled, I believe, by Baum. A mishandle there. He controlled it. Tried to get to the 5. He only needed about a half a yard to get the first down. I believe he'll get it.
Yeah, his second effort may have put the football just past where they need it.
Be interesting to see. Yes, the fumble or the snap was fumbled. Baum had trouble getting it from the center on the snap, and he just needed about a half a yard.
That second effort where he backed himself close to the 5-yard line, and they're going to mark him short. I'm surprised that they're not even going to measure this from where they're at.
Michael Allen still in at center for Case, the starter, the sophomore from McMurray, Pennsylvania. Case is going to call a timeout. They'll talk about it. So Case breaks the timeout huddle on the Case sideline, and Joey Baum, the 6'1", 195-pound junior quarterback, will lead the Spartans back out onto the field. They'll go for it. It is a 4th and less than a half yard. Case is just outside the 5, and they need to get to that 5-yard line stripe.
This is Corey Checken's forte.
Forte, the fullback in the backfield, first back in the eye. Handoff will go to the second back, and that is Greg Meyer. Meyer will get it. He's down to the 1, and he's tackled there.
It looked like Hiram was expecting something between the tackles, and Case ran off tackle. Play was led by Corey Checken around the outside.
And they run right behind Matt Yanasco and Andrew Zajac. And coming out is Checken leading that block out of the backfield.
And here comes Michael Allen to the sideline. Hoffman, the center for Case, will come to the sideline.
And William Kakish will come in. He'll play center now for Case. Kakish now in at center for the Spartans. 1st and goal from the 2. Baum under center, again fumbled the snap. Hands it off in the backfield to Greg Meyer, and Meyer is in for a touchdown. Meyer broke a tackle at the 3. Second effort got him in, and a fumble, stumble, rumble, but yet a touchdown for the Case Spartans.
Yeah, Meyer did a nice job just using his left hand, or check that right hand, keeping himself on balance and stretching out for the goal line, and a touchdown, and for Meyer, his 2nd touchdown of the season.
Well, the great 3-legged drill that they do in football practices all across the country served Greg Meyer well there. That takes him into the touchdown for yet another Case score. It is 48-0 as Coffey comes in for the point after touchdown. 9 minutes, 39 seconds left to play, 3rd quarter. The kick is up, and it is good. Make it 49-0. 9 minutes, 39 seconds left to play in this 3rd quarter. Case, as you can see by the score, is well on their way to a 7-0 start in this regular season and their 28th straight regular season victory.
Offensively for Case today, around 320 yards in total offense for the Spartans, and the Case defense has held Hiram to just 74 yards in total offense, 23 yards on the ground. And last week against Ohio Wesleyan, Case allowed just 14 yards rushing against the battling Bishops. So this defense in the last 2 weeks has allowed just over 40 yards rushing.
You know, we've talked an awful lot, and deservedly so, about this Case unbeaten streak in the regular season. They were 10-0 in 2007, 10-0 in 2008, and undefeated here in 2009 so far. As Hiram takes the opening kick, and they've got a little breathing room at the 35 and run out of bounds at the 37. Returning it for Hiram was Stephen Johnson, or Tim Isaac rather. No, that's Stephen Johnson. Sometimes it's hard to tell between the 8 and the 9. But that was Stephen Johnson, and he returns it all the way back to the 37-yard line. But, Ed, we would be remiss as we point out the current success of this Case football program if we didn't mention the success of the Case football program in the 1980s when Jim Chapman was the head coach here for 5 seasons. Chapman went 36-7-1 and 28-5 in conference play, including an undefeated 1984 season where Case was 9-0.
Austin on the carry there, Ron, and he went heels over head as he headed through the pile and didn't see who got down low, but somebody submarined him, and Austin landed very awkwardly on his shoulder.
James Wodeka came up from his cornerback spot and made that hit on Austin. So it's a 2nd and 6 situation for Hiram. Ball at their own 42. Terriers are down 49-0. And we've got a early movement, and there will be a motion penalty on Hiram, and this play is coming back.
Yeah, Luke Lewis was moving towards the line of scrimmage at the snap, so he'll be called for the illegal motion.
You know, if Luke would have just picked up and turned to his right a little bit, they could have said he was in motion.
Yeah, parallel to the line.
But he certainly knew that he was caught and kept going towards that offensive line. The penalty has been declined, so it'll
bring up
be
a
third down and 3, almost 4-yard situation for Hiram.
Yeah, so rather than 2nd and about 11, Case has chosen to take the play and make it 3rd and short. Hiram 3 of 10 on 3rd down conversions today, and they show a spread offense run.
Rehor back at quarterback. We saw Glenn Campbell a little bit in the first offensive possession, and the throw goes to Glenn Campbell from Rehor, and they've got a first down at the 50-yard line.
Well, Rehor just in the pocket, waiting for the cross to happen across the middle. Campbell came from the outside, back underneath, settled down, and picked up the first down.
You know, you look at these two programs, and both of them have connections to the Cleveland Browns over the years. As Rehor will hand it off to Austin. Austin crosses midfield. He's going to pick up 4 yards down to the 46-yard line. Of course, Hiram College was for decades the site of Brown's training camp during the Paul Brown days. Jim Brown, all those greats. And Case at Finnegan Field, which sat on this exact site that we're at now at Case Field. Finnegan Field was the host of the Cleveland Browns from the mid-'60s to the early '70s. So the Browns have had a history at both of these schools. And specifically, they've had a history, both of these schools, with a certain Hall of Fame NBA basketball star that we'll tell you about in a moment here, as Rehor throws the ball out of bounds with nobody open, facing a 2nd and 7 situation. John Havlicek, remember the name? Star high school player at Bridgeport High School. In the 1950s, went to Ohio State, was recruited by Woody Hayes to play football, but was also recruited in the basketball program and played basketball at Ohio State. We know the history there, but many people may not know that Havlicek was actually drafted by the Browns in 1962 in the 7th round of the NFL draft. Went to training camp in Hiram with the Cleveland Browns, didn't make the club, made it all the way to the 2nd game of the preseason. But the next year in '63, the Browns worked him out here at Finnegan Field, which is now Case Field. A different setup, is a nice catch and pass for Hiram inside their own 40-yard line that time. It was Rehor to
Glenn Campbell, I believe.
Glenn Campbell. But they worked out John Havlicek here at Finnegan Field, which is now Case Field. And we're going to make him a defensive back. That didn't work out, but in talking to Havlicek over the years, he told me that he always wanted to be a Cleveland Brown, remembers his tryout at Case, remembers training camp at Hiram, and was going to play both NFL football for the Browns and NBA basketball for the Boston Celtics.
Well, he didn't do too bad in the final decision that he made. There's a hold coming. They're going to get Luke Lewis for grabbing. Lewis was out in front of Rehor as he rolled to his left, and it'll be a holding call from the spot. Case last year against Hiram, Ron, won the game 50-14 and led that game 37-0 at halftime. So very similar situation to today. Case up 42-0 at halftime and on their way to another victory against the Terriers.
Well, you look at the numbers right now. Hiram has run 41 offensive plays. They've gained 67 yards passing and 33 rushing. The 33 yards rushing, though, have come on 22 attempts. So that Case front has been outstanding again today.
Well, and Case has been able again to rotate in some players as well. Now see Christian Anderson in on the defensive front. Michael Harris is also in there at nose guard.
Rehor will roll right at midfield, throw right, and it's Glenn Campbell at the 32-yard line. So on a 1st and 16 from the 42, Hiram gets it down to the 33. They'll pick up 9.
Nothing fancy, just a little rollout. Waited for Campbell on his comeback. Got some separation.
You know, it's somewhat unfair, I think, to look at Rehor today as a freshman and compare him against Dan Whalen, the senior. I mean, Whalen is a 4-year starter. A year ago, a finalist for the a finalist for a trophy in Division III college football that is equal to the Heisman. And it's somewhat unfair, I think, Ed, for us to look at Rehor today as a freshman on the same field with Dan Whalen, the senior. And in that context, you actually have to look at Rehor and say he's not doing a bad job for a freshman.
No, and he's beginning to make the good decisions that he needs to make and learn along the way. If you go back and look at some of the plays that Whalen made as a freshman, that's one of the things that the coaching staff has said that they have liked about Dan Whalen is his progression, and they call it the risk-reward quotient here at Case. And when Whalen got here, he just believed that it was all going to be him and he could get it all done with his arm. And he's grown into a very good quarterback, and Rehor has the skills to elevate his game as well.
Hiram and Rehor at the 30 of Case, 3rd and 4. Fake handoff to Austin. Rehor will roll with it right, throws. He's got Campbell at the 20, and Glenn Campbell goes up for an acrobatic catch, gets hit hard, but holds on to the football.
Jacob Adams in there for Case defensively as Case begins to get more substitutes into the game.
Ed, you mentioned the risk-reward with Whalen specifically, and now as Hiram's looking at it with Rehor, I called that Grove City game the last time Case lost in the regular season, and Whalen struggled that game. They put up a lot of points on the board. It was 40-33, but there were more than a few interceptions in that game as well. But Case knew then what they had in young Dan Whalen, and he has certainly proven to just turn out to be outstanding. Probably will go down as the all-time greatest quarterback in the history of Case football.
Well, he has a chance. He set all of the records this year and legitimately has a chance to get to 10,000 yards passing for his career here at Case Western.
So it's a 1st down situation that turns into a 2nd down now on the run for Hiram as they are slowly moving down the field. The Terriers trying to get on the scoreboard for the first time this afternoon. They're down 49-0 with about 4 minutes left to play in this 3rd quarter. 2nd and 10 from the 20. Hiram with 3 receivers split to the left. Rehor at quarterback. He'll roll to the left, and he'll throw that way. He'll throw to the back out of the backfield. It's complete. And down at the 15-yard line and coming down with it is Lee Sham.
Well, that 3 wide receiver set, Sham was the furthest inside in the slot. He waited for the 2 outside receivers to go deep and then just cut it to the outside, so he had some space to work in. Well-designed play by the Hiram Terriers to run the Case defense off and create the opening for Sham to catch the football.
Sham from Sharon, Pennsylvania, Kennedy Catholic High School.
Just across the Ohio line.
3rd and 5 from the 15. Rehor with Austin next to him on his right hip in the backfield. Rehor looks left, throws left, immediately to Glenn Campbell. Campbell needs to get down to about the 10. And did he fumble the football to 13? There's a...
Ball is loose. They're going to say who's got it. Case thinks they have it. Now they'll stop it and unpile everybody, but Campbell made a cut to the inside, and when he caught the ball, he ran into a host of blue shirts.
Well, it'll be interesting to see on the replay. And Case thinks they've got it. We have yet to receive an official signal from the officials on the field.
There's some discussion as whether or not he was down or not. Boy, Campbell's not happy with the way it seems to be going. Campbell peeking into that huddle.
And it will remain Hiram football. Lucas Sasala thought that he had recovered the football, at least the way that we saw it coming out of that pile-up. And here's the replay. Campbell got it, and
the ball was loose.
Definitely a fumble.
Now it's a question of who got the ball back. They fought for it at the bottom.
And they got enough to get the 1st down. So it's a 1st and 10 situation from the 10. So 1st and goal from the 10. Rehor at quarterback, looks left, rolls left, throws left corner of the end zone. Ball's tipped and knocked out of bounds. A nice saving tip that time in the defensive backfield for Case. Kerry Dieter And right there, Dieter with the tip. And a touchdown saving tip for the Case defense.
Now only one receiver in the area. Case did a nice job of flooding their coverage towards Glenn Campbell, and Rehor tried to force it in there. Dieter got his hand up, knocked the ball away.
Campbell is going to come out wide to the left for Hiram. We'll keep an eye on him. One back in the backfield, it's Austin. Fake handoff to him. Rehor rolls towards Campbell's side, throws it to Campbell. Campbell goes up, but can't bring it down.
Zach Haas on coverage for Case. Made sure that when Rehor left his feet, or when Campbell left his feet, he had no chance to catch the football. Up in the air, and it's ridden out of bounds there by Zach Haas. Haas, he's a freshman coming in and getting some playing time in the defensive secondary. He's seen coverage on the nickel and dime packages for Case this year. Haas has an interception.
Inside 3 minutes now to play in this third quarter. 3rd and goal situation for Hiram. Rehor will try the right side this time. Running out of real estate, and he runs out of bounds at the 9-yard line.
Now it'll go down as a rush as Rehor gets past the line of scrimmage, picks up a yard. No sack for Case Western.
Hiram has run 51 offensive plays so far this afternoon, more than Case. But Case has a almost 50-point lead over the Terriers. Interception return for a touchdown, 2 block punts in the first half that turned into 9 points, 1 a touchdown and 1 was a safety.
Another turnover by the Case defense led to an instant touchdown to Ryan Colasar.
Derek Reed on for a field goal. It is up, and it is good, but we've got a flag down on the field.
That's right in front of the kicker, so I don't know if they're going to get Case for running into or roughing the kicker, but that's right at the spot where the kick was let go.
They said it's on Case. Hiram is motioning to the Case side of the line of scrimmage.
And that's what it is. It's going to be a personal foul roughing the kicker. Against Case, it'll be enough for a first down. They'll put the ball at the 5-yard line.
So the Terriers will gladly take 3 points off the board for a chance at 7 inside the Case 10-yard line. They'll go half the distance to the goal, which will put it, as Ed said, right about the 5-yard line, and that's where they'll mark it. So Hiram anxiously looking for a touchdown. There's the field goal, and it must have happened right there, is our only guess.
A couple of linemen locked up.
Jack May, and now we don't know that for certain, but that from the video looks like the only opportunity, and Rehor rolls left and goes in for a Hiram touchdown. So Hiram, with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to play in this third quarter, is on the scoreboard here at Case Field. Rehor with a fake to Austin, did a nice job of hiding the football, and then carries it left and walks into the end zone for Hiram's first touchdown of the afternoon.
Had a couple options there. Could have flipped it ahead to a receiver. Instead, he tucked it under and ran. That's just the second rushing touchdown for Hiram this season. The only other rushing touchdown belonged to Rodney Jacobs, a sophomore running back from Florida.
Well, in only one game, as the point after touchdown is good, in only one game this season for Hiram, Ed, have they scored more than one touchdown, and that was the Kenyon game, second week of the season.
Terriers have broken through a personal foul call on Case, kept that drive alive. Hiram had kicked the field goal, and Case was called for a personal foul on the play, put the ball at the 5-yard line.
It has started to rain here at Case Field. It has been really kind of a nice afternoon here at Case. The temperature in the mid-50s. It's been overcast and cloudy, but it has not rained up until this point. We had a little bit of sprinkling of rain in the first half, but now it's picked up a little bit as Case crosses midfield on the return of the kickoff. Brian Rice bringing it back for Case.
Rice seeing some action. Brian Webster is a wide receiver, is out of the game. Brian Metalsit's also out of the game. We heard from Craig Debelak at the end of the first half. He said that Metalsit's hurt his hand, so Rice seeing some action at wide receiver in replacement of those two players.
Joey Baum will come back out, and he'll quarterback for Case. Baum led them to a touchdown on their last drive. Greg Meyer went in for the touchdown on the first possession of the second half for Case.
Begin to see some substitutes for Case. Eric Street, Colin Repko in at wide receiver for Case Western.
We could see Vince Hokovar this afternoon as well in at quarterback. I talked to Coach Debelak about, what happens after Dan Whalen leaves. And he said, well, they really feel that they've got two young men that can step up and take his place, and that's Joey Baum, who we're seeing right now completing that pass. And that pass goes to his back out of the backfield, Derek Bush, who breaks a tackle at the 20, and he's all the way inside the 10. And then that other quarterback is Vincent Hokovar.
Yeah, Vinny Hokovar, he's from Perry, Ohio. Played for head coach Matt Rosati in the Perry Pirates.
So there you see Baum with a little dump out in the flat to Derek Bush. And Bush does a nice cut job right near the 20 and picks up another 12 yards.
Well, zigzag back and forth, got him an extra 10 or 15 yards.
So Baum's at quarterback. In the backfield are Meyer and Deitman. Meyer the up back, Deitman in the I. The handoff will go to Deitman. He'll try the right side inside the 10, crosses over the 5, and walks into the end zone for a touchdown. Billy Deitman with an 8-yard touchdown run for Case. And the Spartans with 55 points.
Nothing really fancy, just a couple of kick-out blocks. He follows Bush ahead. Bush with a couple of chip blocks as he turns the corner, and there goes Deitman cutting back to the inside and walking into the end zone.
Good vision on that run.
Well, Deitman's another one of those Lake County connections that Greg Debelak has pulled in here to Case. Deitman played at Menor High School.
Coffey, the point after touchdown, it's up, and it is money once again this afternoon. 56-7, Case over Hiram.
Okay.
Just seconds left to play in this third quarter.
Well, Case came into the game averaging 44 points a game, Ron, and that was good for fourth in the country. They've done nothing to hurt that standing today.
Case ranked number 9 in the country overall. That is their highest ranking in school history. They've been at 9 before, but no higher than 9. A year ago, they were ranked 18th in the country as they headed into the postseason playoffs, and the year before that, they were ranked 15th. So the Case name has certainly started to build reputation-wise across the country.
Well, you mentioned Vinny Hokovar as we went to break, Ron, and Hokovar, in fact, is warming up on the Case sidelines. Spartans get the ball back. We might see the freshman from Perry High School.
The freshman from Bay High School is under center right now for Hiram, though. It's Rehor. Quick pass out at the 25-yard line, complete and immediately tackled at the 26. Glenn Campbell on the reception for Hiram.
And that three-step drop, little slant out to Campbell, and Campbell really becoming the Mr. Everything for the Hiram Terriers, the junior from Bucknell High School.
Campbell will split out wide to the left, two backs in the backfield. Rehor with the handoff to the up back. And carrying the football is Luke Lewis, the junior out of Fremont St. Joseph High School. Lewis will pick up a couple of yards. It'll be a third down and short situation for the Terriers. Clock continues to run. They're going to wind out the third quarter here. We're at 5, and they're going to hit 0. Case head football coach Greg Debelak, in his 6th season here at Case, 40-19. And, you know, Coach Debs has got a rich history. He was the position coach, the quarterback's coach for Josh McDaniels when Josh was the quarterback at John Carroll. And, of course, Josh McDaniels is the hottest head coach in the NFL right now for the Denver Broncos, undefeated after 6 weeks of NFL play. And I talked to Coach Debs this week about, you know, he's been in contact with Josh over the years when Josh went to New England and was under the tutelage of Bill Belichick. And says that he hasn't had a chance to talk to Josh this year because obviously being the head coach of an NFL franchise, a franchise that is undefeated, takes a lot of attention. But that's a source of pride for Coach Debs. He was also a coach while London Fletcher was playing linebacker at John Carroll. And of course, London Fletcher has spent 11 or 12 years now as a linebacker in the NFL. Did a great job for the St. Louis Rams. Fletcher started in high school at St. Joseph High School and then went on to college at John Carroll. And of course, Josh McDaniels played for his dad at Canton McKinley. Tom McDaniels, the head coach there. McDaniels always had great success against St. Ignatius in the state football playoffs.
Yeah, there were a couple of years that
McDaniels and McKinley was the only team that could beat Ignatius.
Yeah, 97, they defeated them twice. St. Ignatius going down twice to the Canton McKinley Bulldogs that year. McKinley went on to win the state title. Mike Doss was on that team at Canton McKinley.
Doss went, of course, to play at Ohio State, then the Indianapolis Colts. And Coach Debs has had a great history of coaching kids who've gone on to great things. And, boy, it's currently happening here at Case with Dan Whalen and all the rest of the folks.
You would expect that Dan Whalen might get some looks from some NFL teams just because of the numbers that he put up. You think about even at Division III level, an Arth coming out of John Carroll was a backup quarterback to Peyton Manning, and Debs had some contact with Arth at John Carroll through the years.
Vinny Hokovar, now the quarterback in the game for Case, as we were talking about Vinny in the last offensive possession. Vinny, the freshman out of Perry High School. Case with the football at the Hiram 32-yard line. That last carry gained about 5 yards. They'll get it down to the 28. It'll be a 3rd and 9 situation for the Spartans. Hokovar under center. Backs are in the eye in the backfield for Case. Up 56-7. Just inside the 4th quarter of play here at Case Field.
That's Cameron Boyd now, the deep tailback for Case.
And Boyd gets the handoff. He needed 9. He's going to get about 1, and the pile will get pushed back.
Boyd more of a straight up and down runner than, say, somebody like Corey Checken, who tends to get his shoulders over his knees. Boyd just not able to get the push. The offensive line not able to square him out.
You know, Ed, we had a lot of recruits here today for Case, a large number of recruits. Up in the press box before the game, down on the field before the game. They've spent a lot of the time down on the field talking to the coaches and the players before the game. And one thing that has certainly been a result of the great win streak and the national exposure that this Case program has gotten the last couple of years is the amount of recruits, the quality of the recruits that Case is now getting here visiting this campus.
Well, in every home game, before you'd see 2 or 3 players maybe in the press box making the trip, and now it's 10, 12, 15, maybe even 18 players from around the region that make the trip up here to Case for a Saturday afternoon game.
Boyd's carry, not enough to get a first down, so the Spartans will turn it over on downs, and Hiram will get the football and try to get something going offensively. They have 1 touchdown on the board this afternoon, but this has been all Case from the opening kickoff to this point right now.
You know, and you look at some of the statistics coming into the game, Ron, and the one that I found most interesting was that Hiram leads the all-time series against Case 11-7-1.
Rehor, pass across the middle, complete at the 40. A 12-yard pickup for the Spartans. Down on the reception was Kyle Kalari.
And it's that kind of play from Rehor that you can tell why the coaches like him. Nice play, fake, dropped into the pocket, threw a nice bullet over the middle. Complete. He split a couple of defenders.
Rehor is 17 of 29 today. He has 2 interceptions, 122 yards passing. And Rehor will hand it off. 1st and 10 from the 40. Joining us in the booth now, the head men's basketball coach at Case, Sean McDonald.
Hey,
Sean,
Ron.
Welcome to the booth.
Thanks, brother. Enjoying this big win for the Spartans here. Always a fun time. Football Saturday. So.
56 points. That's a basketball score.
It sure is. Not the way we play. We want to get more than 56. So.
Well, once you guys enter University Athletic Association, playing the defense gets a little tougher. That's not a bad day.
Not a bad number. No, it wouldn't be bad.
Speaking of basketball, Sean, as we watch Hiram on offense here, try to get to midfield, and they do. Your season kicks off practice-wise.
We began last Thursday, which was October 15th, and we play our first game about a month thereafter, the 16th of November. So we're rearing and ready to go.
Now, a year ago, you guys played outstanding in the University Athletic Association. Every game, you were right there, and that's a tough, tough conference if anybody follows that basketball-wise. Projecting forward to this year, do you think your team is as strong as it was last year?
I think we have a chance to be better. We've got a nice nucleus of returning players. As you referenced, our conference is certainly the best and most competitive in the country, and as referenced by having the national championship winners each of the last 2 years. But I think on paper we've turned quite a bit. We've got the ability to do some things, play some different styles, and I'm looking forward to it. So.
Chris Austin on the carry for Hiram, and he's going to get a run out of bounds by a couple of Case players, including Brandon Flick. You know, Sean, earlier in this second half, we were talking about a two-sport star that played football and basketball, or at least wanted to at a very high level in the NBA and the NFL, John Havlicek.
Sure.
Do you have anybody at Case that does that, or you think could do that?
That's a great question. We've coached guys in the past. My first year here at Case, Jake Baker was a starting tight end on the football team, captain of the football team, and he was a backup forward for us. And you know, Coach Debs and I are always interested in providing kids with the best experience here. So when students want to play multiple sports, we'll go out of our way to make it possible for them. Right now, we don't have any guys on our team that are playing football, but in a year or two, maybe we will.
The success of the football program, does it correlate to the basketball program at all? Does more attention get drawn to the university because of as a fumble is recovered by Case
let's
at
go
midfield?
Spartans, here we go. I think it can only help for a few reasons. Number one, like you said, the attention that the success of the football team brings to the school and brings to the athletic department is great. Number two, the manner in which our coaches and our players handle themselves. They're so well respected, they're so well thought of that only good can come of it for all of our programs.
Jacob Adams comes up with that turnover recovery for Case, and the Spartans will have the football at midfield. And as Coach Debelak mentioned in the second half, we would see a revolving door of players, which makes it interesting for us in the booth to tell you who's playing. And now at quarterback, the fourth quarterback to play today, Max Bohan. Bohan is a sophomore, 5'8", 160-pound sophomore out of Worthington High School in Worthington, Ohio. So Bohan's in at quarterback. Case has a 4 wide receiver set. Bohan will keep it after a fake, crosses the 45 and brought down at the 43. Sean, basketball-wise for you guys this year, you thought that you had a chance to be stronger than you were last year. Are there certain players that you're looking for big seasons from?
We've got a real nice core of returning players. Returned 4 of our top 5 or 6 guys from a year ago. Our leading scorer a year ago was Reed Anderson, who's from Lakewood St. Edward High School here, so a familiar player for Northeast Ohio basketball fans. Our starting front court is back. Tom Summers is a sophomore forward from Pittsburgh, and our starting center, Eric Dewar, is a junior. He's a 4.0 GPA, pre-med guy. So we're blessed to have a lot of good, solid guys that make a real commitment to this, and I think we have a chance to be good because of them. So.
Derek Bush carried the football for Case. Lost 2 yards on 3rd and 4. It's now 4th and 6, so the Spartans will punt. If you could, it's Division III college football. It's Division III college basketball, specifically with the discipline that you coach. Tell us the kind of athlete that you need to play at the level that you play, because I think, frankly, people would be surprised if they came to a UAA basketball game and saw the level of play that they'll see on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon over at the Beal Center.
You're right, and most people have no idea just because it's not on television. It's not as easy to see and assess and evaluate, but the caliber of athlete is able to perform at a very high level, oftentimes can play at other levels of play, Division I athletes and things like that. But kids come to Case and UAA schools for reasons other than athletics as well. They come here to become doctors and engineers and lawyers and CEOs, and as a result, we're able to coach very focused, very motivated high achievers, which is great. So.
Well, Hiram needs to be focused and motivated right now as they start their next possession at their 1 yard line. 1st and 10 from their 1 is that Case punt.
keep those suckers pinned down there. That's what we're going
Really
to try to
pin them
do
in
right
there,
now.
that's for sure. If you're a coach in a situation like this, and I talked to Coach Debs a little bit about this in anticipation of today's game, when the score is 42-0 at halftime, when it's 56-7 midway through the fourth quarter, your number one concern is safety for your players, to keep them healthy because you've got big games coming up. But when does it get to the point as a coach where you've got to make sure that you're showing respect to your opposing coach as well?
Well, I think
how do you handle that?
I think it's a great question. You have to be respectful to your opponent. You have to be respectful to the game itself. I mean, ultimately, we're playing against the game as much as we're playing against Hiram College in football today, or NYU in a basketball game in the middle of January. And if you respect your opponent, you respect your yourself, and you respect the game, then you'll handle yourself appropriately. And a lot of the guys on the field right now, this is their opportunity to play and shine. They better be busting their tails out there because, if the score wasn't what it is right now, then maybe they wouldn't have this, this forum to compete. So. Well,
James Wodica, who is a backup cornerback, just made that nice solo tackle on that last run by Hiram, and it is his chance to impress Coach Debelek at this point.
And guys always have an opportunity to compete in practice and to show the coaches that they're worthy of, I guess, more opportunities to play in practice. But if you get a chance to compete at the varsity level in a college football game or a UAA basketball game, then you better take advantage of it because those opportunities are few and far between. It's the kind of experience lots of students would like to have, but ultimately not too many are able to say they played football at this level or basketball at this level.
So we've got motion on the right side for Hiram. That'll be a penalty on the Terriers, and a couple of more subs off the bench. Wade Self has come into the football game along with Ryan Ferguson, two linebackers for Case. The penalty marks it back 5, so it's now a 1st and 15. Hiram still trying to get outside the shadows of their own goalpost. They're back inside their 6-yard line.
That's a pick
nice
right
pump
there.
Fake and a pick. The reception return is Josh Murphy for Case, and Josh walks into the end zone. A touchdown for the Spartans. The 3rd interception of the afternoon for Rehor. The 2nd one returned for a touchdown. Paramore did it in the first half, and Murphy now does it for Case right here.
Unless I'm mistaken, I think Murphy's the guy that punted it and pinned those guys down there. So now he rewarded himself with a touchdown. Good job.
Murphy sharing the punting duties on the Case football team along with the quarterback Dan Whalen, and he has done a great job. Coffey will not get any break. He will stay in, and he'll kick the point after touchdown. This one's up, and this one is good as it hooks left but stays inside the uprights, and it's another touchdown for the Case Spartans. Ron Jan said Doherty along with you, and the head basketball coach, the men's basketball coach here at Case, Sean McDonald. Coach, we got it for a couple more moments where we want to ask you about one specific thing, the new Stephanie Tubbs-Jones Memorial Basketball Tournament.
We're really excited about it. Obviously, Stephanie was a super important person here at the university, graduate of Mather College and graduated from law school here as well. I actually coached Stephanie's son Mervin when he was a basketball player at Hiram College, where I used to coach previously. And when Stephanie passed, Mervin and I had some conversations about different ways to be able to honor his mother, and we've decided to name our tournament for her, and it'll be a real exciting time. It's the first full weekend of the year, the weekend before Thanksgiving. We're going to involve the community in a number of ways. We're going to have the famous Shaw High School band come here and perform. And
they're always entertaining.
They're really entertaining. So it'll be a real neat time. We've got a good field, some good teams will be participating, and just really excited to honor all the great things that Stephanie did for the university over the years. And she was really important to me. She was a real good friend to me, and I remain close with Mervin, so I'm glad we're able to do it.
It's very nice of you to be able to do that. And I'm sure it'll be a weekend that Case community will not want to miss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we let you go,
all right.
Favorite Case football player is?
Oh, I'd say Dale English, because he's got the best nickname. If you guys don't know, the coaches and kids call him Mr. English. I think he certainly commands that respect. So anybody that can get their head coach to call him Mr., I think that's the way to go for me. He's a tough sucker. Nobody can block him. And if I were a football player, I'd like to come back in my second life as a lineman. And if I could come back like Mr. English, that'd be good for me. So.
Well, Sean, we want to thank you for joining us in the television booth here. You open your season on November 16th on the road against Baldwin Wallace. Practice is about a week into play already, and we look forward to seeing you at UAA play when the new year starts in January.
It'll be great, Ron. Thanks a lot.
Sean McDonald, the head men's basketball coach at Case, stopping in, joining us here this afternoon at Case Field as his Spartans are rolling over Hiram right now, 63-7. Glenn Campbell in at quarterback for Hiram. Spent a little bit of time here so far this afternoon at quarterback. Mostly at wide receiver, but he has certainly been active. Campbell keeps it and gets it inside the 40. Ed, we always look forward to basketball at Case, and especially in that University Athletic Association play, because year in after year out, national champions come out of that athletic association.
Well, and it's not just on the men's side either, Ron. The women's side of the UAA is also very competitive. The Washington University Bears, the Lady Bears, have won some national championships. The NYU team on the women's side, very competitive as well.
Campbell still at quarterback in the shotgun at the 45. He'll take it, immediately roll left, and he is going to get tackled for a loss at the 41-yard line. And getting over there and making a nice tackle is Wade Self. Wade Self, a freshman out of Lake Zurich High School in Illinois. Here you'll get a real nice look at Wade Self. It's like a one-arm tackle. He wraps it around Campbell's right leg, brings him down. Looked like a single-leg takedown.
Well, and then as Coach McDonald talked about, these guys that are on the second team and third team here at Case Western may have had the chance to play other places. They've chosen to come here at Case for their education and the chance to play on a winning football team, and this is their chance to shine. You can't really tell them to back off or to stop playing. These are guys that are fighting for the opportunity for more playing time and possibly a starting position next year.
Well, you mentioned they come here for their academics. I mean, I love mentioning the majors. When we do it when we do basketball games, and I'd like to do it here for a moment. On this Case defense, Bobby Bott, mechanical engineering major. Derek Sharp, engineering major. Jake May, nutrition major. Dale English, mechanical engineering major. Jeff Brown, civil engineering major. Lisa Sala, biology major. Mike Pelyak, double major, biology and chemistry. I mean, the list goes on.
Well, and you can't discredit, some people may look and say, oh, nutrition or biomed, but because of the engineering that Case is known for. But when you look at what's across the street from Case and the hospitals that are in the Cleveland area, the opportunity to get in and learn in an internship at those hospitals, you can't beat that opportunity and the chance to advance your career either in medicine or engineering or in nutrition. Those kinds of things are outstanding opportunities associated with the academics here at Case Western.
Glenn Campbell on the scramble for Hiram. He picks up 7 on a 3rd and 11. He's going to need 4 more on 4th and 4. Another thing that I think is quite a positive for students attending Case and student athletes playing in the University Athletic Association is the conference that they play in. These students get exposed to major cities from across the country. Pittsburgh and for Carnegie Mellon, as a pass is complete from Campbell all the way down to the 9-yard line. They'll mark it at the 10. Boston with Brandeis University, New York City at NYU, Atlanta with Emory, St. Louis with Washington, Chicago, University of Chicago. So these student athletes, when they go on the road, some of them, Ed, and we've seen it in the basketball program, they turn their road trips into interviews for internships over the summer that then turn into jobs. So it's a great academic institution, an outstanding academic conference in major cities from across the United States, and just many positives for the student athletes here at Case. Case up 63-7. Hiram and Campbell trying to add to that for the Terriers. Ball fakes and fakes himself right out of his shoes and falls forward to the 7-yard line. Case with 63 points. It is the most points scored by a Case football team since 1998, 11 seasons ago, when they knocked off Oberlin 70-12.
Last year Case had 62 against Kenyon. That was quite an impressive first 3 quarters that Case had last year against the Lords in Gambier, Ohio. They led that game at one point 62-0, and Kenyon scored the final 27 points of that football game. But what a show offensively that afternoon was to start the 2008 season.
Glenn Campbell is shaken up a little bit. He has certainly earned his is scholarship today, or actually in Division III there is no scholarship, but that young man has earned something today, the admiration of us all, I think, because he started at wide receiver, was a definite primary wide-out target of Rehor, his quarterback, in the first half, and has spent much of the second half, and as it looks like maybe his afternoon is done, playing quarterback for this Hiram football team.
I've seen him line up in the wing, seen him line up in the slot on the outside, play quarterback.
So Rehor will come back into the game, the freshman out of Bay. He'll be under center for Hiram as they are 2nd and goal from the 7. Rehor fake, looks left, rolls left, throws back across the middle, and it's a touchdown. Rehor with a nice pass to John Pinto. John Pinto, the fullback, out of the backfield, sneaks out. Nobody saw him. He snuck into the end zone, and Rehor hit him with a touchdown pass. It's a nice pass. Rehor against his body. He's going to roll left. He's going to stop. He's going to have to throw back right. It's a tough pass. Threw into triple coverage and found Pinto in the back end of the end zone.
And Pinto came off the right side of the formation, just flowed along the back end of the end zone as the play was going on.
Snaps back. The hold is down, although it was a rough one. The kick is up, and it is good. And there is a nice wide shot of Case Field. We talked about it way at the beginning of this broadcast today. This is the 5th season of this complex here, and you can see the dormitories that are there in the far side of the football field. There are 7 residence halls. It's known as Village at 115 because it runs off 115th and Euclid here in the Case community. They house 800 undergrads, those 7 residence halls. It's just a beautiful complex. There's another angle of it from the northern end zone looking to the south. As it matures over the years and as the trees grow and the ivy grows, it truly is a showcase, Ed. It seats 2,400, all on this eastern side of the stadium with the press box sitting on top of that. And it's a great athletic turf. It's that crushed rubber turf that will house many activities in the Case athletic department over the years. And it's just a beautiful place to play football, a great place to come watch football. And if you haven't been here, you should get here. 115th in Euclid, and or 118th in Euclid if you want to come in the parking garage, both places. And to the north of this complex is the baseball field, another beautiful area for the Case athletic teams to be a part of all the great things they do here at Case.
The baseball field was renovated a couple of years ago as well, and has a nice facility. And the Case team a couple of years ago had 19 freshmen on the baseball team. So again, they're beginning that process of getting quality kids in, and the entire athletic department is that way.
Case is going to wind it down here. There's just over a minute left to play, and they are taking snaps and winding the play clock down. There's Coach Greg Debelak, the head football coach at Case.
And James Rosenberry, the running backs coach, was just behind him.
Hiram has called a timeout, so they'll stop the clock at 1:08. 63-14, Case with the commanding lead. The 63 points, not the most scored by a Case football team. We mentioned 11 years ago against Oberlin, Case scored 70. So Case will go into next weekend. They'll travel to Chicago to take on the Maroons at the University of Chicago with a 7-0 record.
That'll be a 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff. That game will be on radio and on the internet. You can check Case EDU for details on the broadcast time for all the upcoming Case Western games.
3rd and 13 at the 35. Case will run a play. Billy Dykeman will get the handoff. It gets up near the 40. And Hiram has called another timeout. So Hiram wants a chance to get the football back with 62 seconds left, run some offensive plays, and maybe score.
You know, people may question that one way or the other, whether or not, why is Hiram calling the timeouts? But you're right, Ron, the opportunity to run more offensive plays with a freshman at quarterback and a freshman at running back, it can only help down the road. And Bob Wolf is a quality coach. He's been around the game a long time. He's coached locally at the high school level. He's coached at major colleges. He was at Bowling Green as a defensive coordinator in the late 80s. He's coached locally at Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. He was at Warren Harding in the early 1980s. So Bob Wolf has quite a resume, and he understands the game.
Josh Murphy will punt it for Case. Fair catch is called for at the 34, and that's where Hiram will start their last offensive possession of this afternoon of football. 55 seconds left to play. Case up 63-14. Dan Whalen, the Case senior quarterback, will join us from the sidelines immediately following this football game. We'll get to hear Dan's thoughts on yet another win for Case. They scored 26 points in the opening quarter, added 16 more in the second quarter, and it was 42-0 at halftime. Case over Hiram. Rehor will roll left, throw that side, and he's got a pass, and it's complete. Complete to Lee Sham.
Josh Murphy ran him out of bounds, but in Case territory, the Terriers continue to run a two-minute offense. Again, looking to get some playing time for these players and get a few things on tape and evaluate what they can do if they are in a 2-minute drill.
Well, you get a great opportunity to see what your freshman can do. He ran that first play in 6 seconds. Now he's going to keep it tucked. This one will keep the clock running. He's a yard and a half short of a first down, but he's back up. 35 seconds. Rehor gets the play from the sideline. He's got one back in the backfield. 4 wide receivers set. Clock's now inside 30 seconds. Rehor looking left. One receiver over there throws left, and the ball goes out of bounds. That'll stop the clock at 24 seconds. Trying to get it out in that flat to Sean Zalewski.
Big freshman wide receiver, 6'2".
Case will not be back here at Case Field until the final game of the regular season when they host Washington University out of St. Louis.
Yeah, a couple of travel weeks in between, going to Chicago and then Pittsburgh for Carnegie Mellon.
Rehor will keep it inside the 35 to the 33. The clock will stop as the first down markers change. 18 seconds left. As soon as they set it, they'll start the clock, and there it goes. Rehor spikes the football to stop it at 15 seconds, and he's going to get a couple more plays off. He's going to get 2 shots at the end zone, that's for sure, from the 34-yard line.
Well, the Spartans will keep that string alive. Ron, now 28 in a row in the regular season, and they've won overall 29 of their last 31 football games.
Last time this Spartan football program lost a regular season game was Week 9 of the regular season in 2006 at Grove City. And Rehor throws his, nope, I thought it was his 3rd interception of the game, but the ball skipped in, it's incomplete. 9 seconds left to play in this football game. Dan Whalen, the quarterback of Case, will join us on the sideline in 9 seconds. Wade Self almost picked that off for the Spartans of Case. Self, a linebacker. Whalen, the school's all-time leader in yards passing. He has over 8,500 after today's game. Rehor, one more shot at it. 8 seconds and counting. He's going to get sacked in the backfield. He's down at the 42. 3 seconds left. Hiram has called a timeout. They want one more heave into the end zone. Cullen Dolan. Or Colin Dessens, actually. Colin wears 98, Cullen wears 99. It was Colin Dessens on the sack, the freshman out of Arlington High School in Hopewell Junction, New York.
So Hiram will bring in their big wide receivers, and they'll run a flood, it looks like. But out of the football game, Brandon Rehor is out at quarterback. He's on the sideline for the final play.
3.2 seconds left. Hiram needs to go 41 yards in this play to add a touchdown to cap off the game.
Matt Wilson at quarterback.
Wilson's going to step up, loft it to a receiver, open at the 12, knocked out of bounds, and that's the game. The clock has hit 0. Both teams will walk out at midfield and shake hands, and Case will leave Case Field a victor today over Hiram, 63-14, the final for the Spartans of Case. They improved to 7-0 on the season. Hiram drops to 0-7 on the season. Case has now won 28 regular season games in a row, and they will travel to Chicago, the Windy City, next week to take on the Maroons at the University of Chicago.